Hello.
Hello. Big news, big news. Our
Mm.
sister is engaged.
Yay.
I woke up this morning to a missed video call with me and the fiance Todd and our other sister Sarah, just the three of us. And I said, hmm. I said, well, this must be the engagement, but why was it just a call with the three of us? What was that about?
I was called yesterday at probably 11:30, maybe a little bit earlier, where she was like literally moments ago engaged, like they are standing together on the beach, and she's like, and I'm like, thanks.
Yeah, because so I was like I messaged in the group chat and I'm like, what did I miss? And then I messaged no response. Then I messaged um our sister Tama, who's got engaged, and I was like, well, I waited, she's was it 4 or 5 hour time difference or something?
Something like that.
And so I waited till like 10 or 11, and I was like, it must have been 11. I was like, I messaged her, "Are you awake?" And she replied maybe like 30 minutes later, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I just woke up." So then I was like, so what happened yesterday?" Because I also checked all the social medias and the family group chat to see if there was any pictures or anything sent through. No. So then I was like, so what happened yesterday? And she was like, and then she didn't respond for like another 45 minutes. And I was like, so then I texted Sarah, who was in the group chat, and I was like, so what was the call about yesterday? And then she also didn't reply. Then Tama finally got back to me and she was like, oh, what are you doing right now? And I was like, I'm at work. And so then she called me while I was at work, and and she was like, oh, like, yeah, so then I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure that was what the call was about, but it was weird that it was a group chat with just the three of us. She was like, oh yeah, that's because I called mom and dad. Everybody else was with mom and dad, so then we just called you and Sarah. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. She was like,
Everyone
but my phone was dead, so we had to use Todd's phone. And I was like, okay.
weird.
Yeah. So I was like, thanks for getting back to. And then Sarah finally got back to me like 3 hours after that, and she was like, "Oh, something surprise, it's not a surprise." I'm like, Sarah, I know. She got back to me. Thanks, I got it.
That's funny.
Yeah. So it's official.
Oh, it
We're
looks
gonna
like you
have
have
a
blue eyes. Continue.
nothing, nothing. All right, we are continuing on the Star Wars saga. Saga? Is saga just series?
I believe so.
All right,
But
we're
Saga
continuing.
sounds cooler.
True. We're continuing on the Star Wars saga with The Empire Strikes Back. Is this the people's favorite, or is that Return of the Jedi?
I don't know. It's not my favorite, but I think this is the one of the original trio I've watched the least as well.
Oh,
I think it's got a ton of many iconic moments though. Probably the most per movie in iconic moments of the three.
of the three? Okay.
The original three, yeah.
I I mean, I'd maybe give that to Return of the Jedi, but I don't know.
This
Mm.
has if not the most by count of iconic moments, this has all of the top iconic moments.
This this one has my favorite quote in all of Star Wars.
What? I love you,
Can
I
you?
know.
No.
What?
It's a quote said by Darth Vader.
No, I am your father?
No.
Or uh what else does he even say?
I'll
Oh,
give you a
upon me
hint. I'll give you
accepting
a
this
hint.
or whatever.
I'll give you a hint. Christmas.
Christmas? Oh, the Force is with you, young Skywalker.
But you are not a Jedi yet.
They have an
Yeah,
ornament that says only that line.
iconic.
I
Ooh,
love it.
chills down my spine every time somebody presses that little button.
That was, by the way, the I think my worst Vader breathing impression I've
I
ever
hope it
done.
came through. I hope it came through. The Force is with you, young Skywalker.
But like,
But you are not a
here are iconic moments. Everything Yoda says ever. Do
Jedi.
or do
Oh,
not. There is no try. Uh, uh, Luke. No, I am your father, which is the line.
yes.
I love you. I know. It's
Mm.
got the bit of the beginning. Like these are all the most iconic bits, I think.
Oh, I don't disagree. It's very iconic. I just think people think of when they think of Star Wars, they think of
It's got the
No, I
word.
am your father. And they also think of when Vader throws Palpatine off the edge.
You think of Palpatine before they think of do or do not. There is no try.
No, that's not a moment though. That's
Ah,
just a that's just a little quote.
I think it's attached to the moment when he picks up the plane, which I would argue
Okay.
is less iconic. But like,
Yeah. Becca, give us a recap
recap. I did watch this in multiple parts, so I'll do my
because she
best.
fell asleep.
Listen though, I do think I'm getting sick. Like, whatever. Here's how it goes. Last movie, they just defeated the Death Star, but their base, their rebel base, got found. So in this movie, they're looking for a new rebel base. They're like, perfect, we have one on Hoth. Boom, they're on Hoth. They're riding around. Luke goes look at a meteorite, gets attacked over the head by a Yeti. Yeti sticks him up in a tree in the cave. Han goes out to find him, stuffs him in the horse. They bring him back. I think there are a lot of moments in this movie that like are not necessary for the overarching plot, but I think are like show that it was like a dangerous mission and like rebel stuff. Like stuff like Hoth or like when they're hiding in the asteroid belt and it's like a snake like like I feel like that's nice. Anyway, they go back. Darth Vader is like, we have to find Luke. We have to find Skywalker. So let's find him. They find the rebel base. It's on Hoth. They go to the rebel base. Pew pew pew. Get the rebels. They evacuate. The Millennium Falcon also evacuates with Leia on it as well. But not Luke. Luke is on his own. X-Wing. X-Wing. He gets a vision. Go to Dagobah. Obi-Wan tells him to go to Dagobah. Goes to Dagobah with R2. He gets there and he's like, I'm looking for a Jedi. I'm going this out of order, but like in the order it happened. I'm looking for a Jedi Master. I'm told he's freaking sweet. Finds Yoda, and Yoda's like, Jedi Master you're looking for? I can take you to him. But he's being crazy about it. All wackadoo, like Yoda be. Luke is like, no, little green guy. I'm looking for a Jedi Master, not some nonsense. And Yoda's like, okay, fine. I'll teach you. I'm the Jedi Master. I'll teach you how to be a Jedi. But you don't have the stuff. And so Obi-Wan convinces him, and he's like, fine, I'll teach you to be a Jedi. Teaches him to be a Jedi, magic tricks, ooh. Doesn't have the patience. Luke, you don't have the patience. You're just like your father. Tries to pick up his plane, can't pick up his plane. He's like, Yoda, this is useless. You want the impossible from me. Yoda's like, the impossible? Watch this. Lifts it up immediately. He's like, okay, fine. I'll learn from you. Learn from him from a little bit. We cut back over. Uh, they're on the Millennium Falcon. They hide from some starships. They're hiding around. They're looking for a place to go. They, I might be skipping a lot ahead, but I feel like they're in space for a while and then they go straight to what is the name called? What is Lando's little city called? Just Cloud City?
I think it is just Cloud City.
They go to Cloud City.
No, there has to
City
be a
of
name.
Clouds. Cloud 9?
Mm,
City in the Clouds, which is a little mining place where they go to Lando, who is like gambling buddies with Han. They get to,
Cloud City, a Tibanana gas installation located on the planet Bespin.
but it is called Cloud City.
Yeah. So the little thing is the where all the people
Yeah,
are is Cloud
the
City.
city is called Cloud
Planet
City.
is Bespin. Because I remember watching and going, oh, they like said that like a legit name. Anyway, continue.
They go there and they're like, Lando, we're buddies. Can you fix my ship? And he's like, sure, we're buddies. But actually, he betrays him a little bit. He's like, I'm turning you over to the Empire so that they won't mess with my mining. But then they're like, whoa, wait, they're actually not going to keep up their bargain. Okay, I always remember Lando betraying them and then not helping them after. And like, just like Vader being like, we're not going to not mess with your stuff because you helped us. That's ridiculous. We're the dark side. You're stupid. But what he does do is does help. Lando does help them escape a little bit. Not before letting them turn Han into a chocolate bar. Like, they totally crust him up, waiting for Luke. The plan is Vader is like, I want to keep Luke perfectly safe and deliver him to the Emperor.
Genius, genius.
So I'll just freeze him. He'll be fine. Which I feel like is kind of valid. Like, you're like, I'm just gonna incapacitate him, which is smart. He's a learning Jedi guy.
Yeah.
Luke is on Dagobah. He gets a vision. He's like, "Oh my gosh, not Luke and Leia. Leia and Han are in danger." And Yoda's like, "They're. I don't care if they're in danger. You're gonna stay here and become a Jedi." And Obi-Wan's like, "Yeah, stay here and become a Jedi." And Luke is like, "No, I gotta go help them." And Yoda's like, "Are you sure? Because like this is what they're fighting for. And they're the bait and you're the trap, and you're going to fall right in their trap." He's like, "Shut up, Yoda. I'm out of here, but I'll come back." He takes off. He gets there. He finds Luke. He finds Leia and Han. Keep saying Luke and Leia. It is a trap, and he knows it. And he falls right for it. He fights Vader. I always found this fight scene to be so fun, especially when you watch them in chronological order, where like Anakin is this like incredibly talented lightsaber user, and then Darth Vader can barely move at all, and he's like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I find it hilarious.
There
But I can't.
are there are edits that people have made of like what the Obi-Wan versus Vader fight should have been, and it's amazing.
I can't tell if it's like, oh, he's literally had no one to fight with a lightsaber for 20 years, or he's like physically incapable of doing the same cool moves. Just, I don't know.
Um, well, I think it's that they didn't think the
Well, I
lightsaber
know they didn't
battles.
think about it, but like, I feel like he also is
Okay,
like,
okay, well, let's pretend that that's not a thing. What I will say is the suit is probably a little constricting. Even in Rogue One, where they had the lightsaber capacity battle, whatever, he wasn't like, like how Anakin is. He was very like, let me just take care of this really quick. And using the Force. Um, in this movie, he uses the Force through a video screen, chokes
mm-hmm.
someone out through like intercom system or whatever. So he's powerful. Need need to be doing all that. He just simply
To be
simply defecting
fair, he was
Luke's
not trying to kill
simple.
Luke.
Yeah, Luke has simple lightsaber skills at this point. Also, using Anakin's saber, crazy.
If my son showed up to kill me and he pulled out my own weapon and I knew he didn't know yet that I was his dad, that's when I would have told him. I'd be like, my lightsaber, you're gonna use that? Ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, to hear the internal dialogue of Vader when he's like, "Look, I got this lightsaber," and he's like, "Oh really? Oh
Like,
really?"
that's a pretty cool lightsaber right there. Where'd you get it? Like,
Yeah. Anyway, continue
they're
on.
they're fighting. They smash through the window. Luke falls out. They're on the hill. They're on, iconic. You killed my father. No, I am your father. Oh my gosh! It's when he says the thing. Then he cries like a baby because he's like, no. I always thought like
Is it an overreaction?
I always thought like most people wouldn't believe him, where like you'd be like, well, no, you're not my father, or no, that like no, it can't be. He's immediately like, it's true, and I hate it, like so
To be
quickly.
fair, he does go back and question Yoda and Obi-Wan. Like, is this for real?
Yeah, from a certain point of view, like
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
we watched the last probably 4 minutes of the movie with our dad, and then always when you watch a Star Wars movie, he pulls out his like SNL or Adult Swim like Star Wars little bits, and then we watch that for another hour and a half. Like I think it's always funny because he'll say one line and he'll be like pull it out and be like, you have to watch this first before we can continue. I'm like, oh, okay, some of them are funny, but like I think it's funny. Falls down. This is he's like join me. We can rule the galaxy. We'll kill the guy who's in charge now, and then me and you can rule. Like, isn't that what you want to do? Which wasn't that Vader's plan to begin with? He just never killed Palpatine. Whatever. But then Luke is like, I don't think Luke thought it would like funnel down. I really thought he was just gonna like, I'd rather fall to my death. Peace out. He jumps down into the sky. He falls down this big tube, ends up on this like coat hanger from the bottom of the Cloud City. Then he's like, Leia, Leia. Leia's like, oh my gosh, we have to go back. They go back, they pick him up. Oh, I forgot to mention, his arm got cut off by Darth Vader. Um, so they're
I
like
would
doing
love
this.
to count how many Star Wars movies someone's arm doesn't get cut off in. It's just
It's
the
yeah.
go-to.
I
If
mean,
you cut their arm off, you can't use your lightsaber.
Anakin had his arms cut off twice. So,
This is what I'm saying.
what? 3 times actually.
When is
He
it?
gets his arm cut off as Darth
Oh,
Vader as well.
yeah, yeah. I was
Twice.
picturing Anakin and Darth Vader, but it's twice as Anakin, once as Vader.
Yes.
You're so right.
Which is kind of funny. Anyway, I do think they also get the same arm cut off, but I guess that's because they're all right-handed. Also, genius move to just cut off their hand that they're using the lightsaber. Like it's the same as like Force turning off their lightsaber,
Yeah.
Force turning on their lightsaber. Anyway, they all look out the window. The Empire effectively wins. They have Han. They're gonna take him to Jabba. The end. They look out the window. I always thought this was the movie they find like Luke tells Leia that they're siblings, but they don't say that.
Well, he doesn't know.
Well, I thought he did know because Yoda was being all mysterious, but actually, after rewatching the movie, Yoda is only mysterious the second Luke leaves. Where he's like, "There's another one," and everyone's like, "What?"
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
hmm So, okay, so before I had rewatched this, I Googled, went on the incredible source Google, and I was like, when does Vader actually find out that Luke is his son? Because in this movie, Palpatine is like, uh, okay, listen. Because there's like a comic or whatever that's a canon, and it's where Vader sends Boba Fett to go find out who was the one who destroyed the Death Star. And from there, Boba Fett finds out that the guy's name is Skywalker. And so then Vader's like, Skywalker,
It's kind of crazy.
interesting. He must be my son. Because he's like felt the Force, and then he finds out his name is Skywalker, and he's like, I put this together, it's my son. So then I was like, okay. So apparently he finds out in between 3 and 4 that
Yeah.
he is his son. But then also in this
Immediately,
movie, oh,
if I'm Darth Vader, Palpatine, I was planning on already getting rid of Palpatine. That's something that I've been saying for years. Then I find out that he lied to me about like the one thing that made me turn to the dark side. that my son is in fact alive, and like I did not kill my wife, um, at least not directly. Um, I would confront him right then and there. I'd be like, "So it gives." I just force sense to my son. Did did you hear about that? You know that guy that just destroyed the Death Star? He's my son.
Yeah.
Did you know about this? Like, I would be like, okay, time's up, Palpatine.
Yeah.
Scratch, toss him. I'm doing
Well,
this
because
better now.
Palpatine, correct me if I'm wrong, he doesn't just say, "Oh, he is your son." He's like, "He must be your son." Like he's like guessing,
Yeah,
right?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
Like no,
I,
in
I,
this
I
movie.
think I think in this movie he says like surely he must be the son of Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he's not saying like, "Oh, yeah, that's guy's your son." He's saying like, "Maybe, possibly, I don't know."
It seems like Anakin's son to me.
You know who he reminds me of? Yeah. So like d and then because when Palpatine is like, "Oh, Padme died," is Anakin assuming that Padme died before she had the kid?
Yeah, so when in the third movie he's like you killed her in your anger, I think that he's talking about when he like force choked her before she had the kids, when he left her with Obi-Wan before he got sliced up.
Oh, interesting.
That's what I
I
always
always
thought.
I
Cause,
always
cause
thought
he
it
goes,
was
cause he goes, no, she was alive. I felt her, and I'm like, yeah. When you like choked her and she fell on the floor, I feel like that's when he'd be like, no, she was alive. She was alive. She was alive. Like I felt her still being alive when I choked her.
yes. I always assumed it was in his no like in like from him turning to the dark side killed her.
Okay. I've never
Which is
had that.
essentially what happened.
I mean, yeah, that is more accurate.
What was the cause of death for Padme? A broken heart?
They said she
Um,
doesn't have the will to live.
stress? Yeah. Will to will to live is gone, even though she now has kids she could live for, but that's a different that's a whole nother podcast.
Anakin was
Um,
love. Anakin was life. Too
yeah,
much to bear.
yeah. I mean, I'd love to talk to somebody who's obsessed with Star Wars about this to like really hear their
As if
thoughts
we
on
don't
it.
have like a slew of those and like
I
very
know.
close to us.
I know. I know. We need to get them all on it together. That would be crazy.
Especially
Um,
because like we're like guessing stuff or making up stuff from like our most recent rewatch. They've been like studying them for years.
yeah. Yeah. It's just listen. So confirmed uh it's I mean confirmed that Luke is his son. And then I think it's they're like, okay, yeah, he's got to be my son. And then but then when he shows up with Anakin's lightsaber, he's like, for sure.
Well,
For sure the guy.
I think he's for sure before that. Okay, so Anakin's whole deal is that he loves too much, right? That's why he turned to the dark side. He's just a big loving gal. Can't you tell? Um, I feel like the second he finds out he does have a son, he's like, I have a son. Like, let him join the dark side. Let's be buds. That's why he's like obsessed with finding him after the first movie, which is the words they use in the opening credits. Obsessed with finding Luke Skywalker.
Hmm.
Uh, like I feel like he's like, this is my chance. Like, I can let him join the dark side and we can be buds. Like this is all I've wanted. But then he's like, then I cut off his hand and he fell to his death instead of joining me.
Listen,
Missed opportunity.
they did have that cool scene where he was in the water tank, just like his father before him. You know what I'm talking
Where,
about?
where he's like,
Yeah, yeah. The
when is
back to tank.
Anakin in the tank?
when his arm got cut off, or when he was hypothermia. It was after
Um,
the. It was on Hoth. Um,
but
pretty sure it was on Hoth
when
when
did
he was like,
Anakin go into a tank?
oh, when he's becoming Darth Vader after he got burned
Oh,
by the lava.
yes, it's true.
Yeah.
Is that what
And
it is?
then I think he periodically goes in it, like
Maybe.
to rejuvenate or whatever.
I know he does some skincare and stuff when he's in his little
Hmm.
like egg thing.
Yeah, okay, the claw thing. Love that thing. Where was that before? Love the claw. You see his helmet off in the claw.
Yeah,
So
he's doing his makeup.
what gives? Like, oh, somebody was like, can Darth Vader eat? And somebody was like, well, he must just eat like through the tubes, like, you know. But I think he could eat. I think that's where he's like,
Yeah, he's in the thing. Everyone's like, oh, he's being mysterious and stuff, and it's him like charcuterie board, like.
yeah, yeah. Because when he takes the helmet off, his mouth isn't like attached to. Although, okay, I'm not an expert, nowhere close. I think somebody was saying somewhere that they showed a diagram of Vader and how where all the tubes connect and how everything works. And they were like, according to this diagram, he must not eat because his insides were like what he was turning into like fuel to live, like his like intestines and stuff. I gotta find this diagram. Maybe it was a fever dream. I got,
You dreamt it.
yeah, I dreamt it.
He eats
Oh,
horse
I have
skin.
homework. I must know. I must know what's going on inside Vader's suit.
I think he does eat and can eat because he talks in the last movie. So
Yeah, I think he can. That's just my personal opinion. I think he can eat and does eat in this little claw thing, and that's his me time in there. Yeah,
I love that there is a very very big room and that's the only thing in it and it's just big enough for just him. Like he could have
yeah,
had a whole giant room that was a
yeah,
claw.
yeah. Shall we talk about Yoda?
Sure,
Yoda, silly goofy guy in this movie.
it's true.
This is the Yoda I know and love. When you see Yoda being like wicked cool Jedi Yoda in the prequels, I'm like, who is this guy? I like Crazy Yoda. Crazy Yoda is where it's at. But also everybody's like, well, Yoda and R2-D2 should have recognized each other. So what's up
They
with that?
probably did. R2D2 recognizes everybody and everybody, and he just keeps his little buzzer shut. Like,
Hmm. I think 100% they recognize each other. My only question is, um, Yoda says he's going into hiding. He never specifically says he's going to Dagobah. So when R2-D2 is on top of Luke's ship and he's like, "Oh, we're just gonna go hit up the Dagobah system really quick." And R2's like kind of freaking out. Is he just freaking out because they're like, "Oh, we're not this wasn't the plan." Or is he freaking out because he knows Yoda's on Dagobah?
I think he doesn't know he's on Dagobah. I think he is like, I thought we were gonna go meet up with everybody. Because the reason that Luke knows to go there is because Yoda talks to Obi-Wan who talks to Luke.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else knows he's on Dagobah. Well, I
Do
guess
we
the
think
the
oh,
Wookiees probably, but
the Wookiee? Why would the Wookiees know?
the
Well, they
Wookiees
dropped
are
him
the
off
one who
there.
take him there, yeah.
But he probably had one Wookiee drop him off there who's now dead.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah. Um, but do you think Yoda knows what's going on with the rebellion, or is he just completely secluded on Dagobah?
I think it's the same thing where like he's going through Obi-Wan and all the other ghost guys who are like kind of informing him because he knows that Luke and Leia, not Luke and Leia and Han are fighting for the same thing that Luke is and that Luke's going back would cause him danger. You keep in mind Yoda can see the future to an extent. I think he can also see the present in other places.
Oh my gosh. Oh, in other places.
Yeah.
I can see the present.
Like, I
Yeah.
think that's a good superpower though.
And
He can see the
he
present
also just
always.
knew who Luke was, period. Like if he had no idea what was going on, he wouldn't know who
Yeah.
Luke was when he showed up.
Obi-Wan told him to show up.
True that, true that.
Also, Obi-Wan told Luke to go there before he had convinced Yoda to actually teach him. So it was like, oh, Ghost Obi shows up and he's like, "Hey Yoda, I got a kid coming in 15, and you gotta teach him for the next like 5 years." And Yoda's
Mm,
like, "I just made soup." Like,
yeah. Yeah. I actually love that because Obi-Wan, everything Obi-Wan says to Luke about how you're too young, like you're too old, you're not ready, you're, too emotional, is everything that they say to Anakin when they're
yeah,
like he's wants to become a Jedi. And then also the way Obi-Wan convinces Yoda to teach Luke is the same way Qui-Gon was convincing the council to teach. Did I say that right? Obi-Wan was te convincing Yoda. Qui-Gon was convincing the council to
yes.
teach Anakin. Yeah.
Also,
Love the parallel.
Luke is 1/4 the Force. Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy?
Anakin was half the Force and they didn't want to teach him.
Like the Force is strong with this one.
The
Like,
Force is
let it rip.
strong with you, The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi. I love
This
that.
is not translating very well over the mic. I can do a
Mm,
good Vader. Like, it's good.
I believe you. I believe you. I've heard it. I can vouch for you. I vouch for you. There you go. The ships, like the battle stars, like Red One, Gold Leader. They have a whole crew that are the rogue ships.
You'll notice none of them are Rogue One.
Oh,
But also, Rogue was a made up name in Rogue One.
yes. But what I'm saying is we have to work backwards with this because this movie came out first. And so they're like, oh, because they have Rogue Leader and then they have Rogue 2 and then 3 and whatever. So when you're in the mindset of you're making the Rogue One movie and you're like, oh my gosh, we need a name for this ship. What do we call it? It has to work into the Star Wars universe. There is no Rogue One. Do you think that's how they thought of it?
Uh, a little. I think, well, also in story, the reason he picks Rogue One is because they're going rogue.
Yes.
But also, I do think they picked the name first and then found a way to squish it in. And it sounds cooler than
I
Gold
think it just
One, the
fit
movie.
that perfectly though.
I think they picked the one that sounded good. I'm not gonna go watch like Gold One, the movie, like
Yeah, but they could have called it something like
Gold Four,
completely
the
different.
Star Wars story.
Yeah, because Rogue One has nothing to do with the story.
Yeah, it sounds cool, is what it does. I think that's the reason they picked it.
It does sound cool. My window is getting brighter. Can you see that? What?
You see my star I have here?
Do I just do it like this the rest of the
When I block mine, they just get brighter.
It's because the sun is close to setting, so it's really beaming in that window. But if I did it anywhere else, you guys wouldn't be able to see my cool stuff.
Yeah,
Why have it if
totally.
nobody can see it? Yeah, anyway. And it was this movie. mm, I'm trying to decide if I like it the best out of the original trilogy. What are your thoughts on that while I decide?
Um, I think the first one is iconic. I think the sixth one I've definitely seen more times. And but I don't know. I don't think the second one's my favorite. But I can't tell if the four or six is better.
I just decided I'm gonna go 654.
Okay. I think they're
Controversial?
all
I don't know.
great. I think because they're all great, any arrangement is acceptable.
Facts. And that's on a good trilogy.
Yeah.
Period. Becca has nothing else to say.
Can you do an R2D2 impression?
Didn't think I was gonna do that, did you?
I think it cut out a little, but from what I heard, that
Yeah,
was awesome.
that definitely cut
Yeah,
out. It was
let's
really loud.
end it right there. That was so good.
Okay, bye.
Bye.